Hello, and welcome back to What is Syris reading this week? This is week 22 and 23. So, at the end of this one, there is going to be a game review. If you don't want to stick around, it's cool. If you do, hope you enjoy it. All right. First up, we got Dead Man Logan, the complete collection. So, after Old Man Logan, which ended with the end of the world where he fought Maestro and obviously decapitated Maestro and thought he was dead. The story takes place after that, and he's got like 12 months to live. So it's him, he's defeating Mysterio in the modern era because, Mysterio's the one that caused this whole reality break. And the other story is he's going back to the Wasteland and trying to just, solve that whole dilemma there. So, this is a good story. If you really liked Old Man Logan like I did, you're going to enjoy this. If you didn't like Old Man Logan, you're probably not going to like this because it ties directly into Old Man Logan, so, But anyway, this book is good, really good. A solid 9 out of 10. Yeah, Dead Man Logan is really good. All right, next up, got Batman, Earth 1. So this is, I think, Batman got rebooted. I'm not 100% sure what Earth 1 was. I'm guessing it was an event or another. But this is Batman's Earth 1. I've also picked up Titan's Earth 1. It's probably going to be in next week's video. Well, not next week, but the week after. Next video is going to be Titan's Earth 1 in it. So this involves it's a different change because Alfred's not his butler. He's a family friend, but he's also a war veteran, and the story's, it's kind of like Batman's backstory again, obviously, but a different spin on it, and it's really good. If you like seeing the origins of heroes, you're definitely gonna like this because this is a really fun and original origin story. So I recommend this. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. Pick this up if you see it. All right, next up we got SpiderMan Venom. So this was part of the Marvel Knights run, and this one involves Eddie Brock sells the Venom suit to this Magia family. Spider-Man's still recovering because Aunt May's been kidnapped by some villain, and he's trying to find her, and Black Cat saved him because the owl attacked him, and so this Venom guy's hunting him down because he has the suit, obviously. And that's essentially the whole story. It's only 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 issues long. So it's not a long story at all. It's a little enjoyable story. I enjoyed it for the most part. And I give it a solid 8 out of 10. It was pretty enjoyable for the most part. I quite enjoyed it. All right, next up, we got Batman, the Wraith. So there's 2 parts to this story. The first part is an older story called, I don't remember what the exact title was. I think it was The Wraith, Batman Special Number 1, The Player on the Other Side. This was an original story from the 80s, 90s-ish about the original Wraith. But then it cuts to Batman Incorporated, I think it was, and it's the son of the Wraith. So the Wraith's back, but it's not the original because the original died. So who is it? This, I didn't expect much of it walking in, reading it, but all in all, it was really enjoyable, and I thought it was quite good. So I give it a solid 7 out of 10. The Wraith is this guy that has Batman's powers, but instead of hunting villains and defeating them, he hunts cops and kills them because his parents were killed by cops because he has a sort of same backstory as Batman. He's a complicated character that you're going to have to read this to figure out. Next up, we got Batman Flash, the Button. So this ties directly into Doomsday Clock because if you know what this button is, because you've read Watchmen, you'll know that that is the comedian's button. And yeah, it's not that difficult to figure out how that ties into Doomsday Clock when the Watchmen are coming into the DC universe. But this one involves them looking after the button. So it opens with Flash leaving and Batman being in his lab by himself, and Batman and Reverse Flash fight, and Reverse Flash takes the button and runs away, but then he comes back and he's a skeleton, completely dead with the button still in his hand. So they're trying to figure out what happened, why it happened, and who did it. This is a really short book. It's not compare it to like the Wraith. You can see the size difference. This book's really short. It's good though. If you like the Flash run, which I recommend 100%, you're gonna like this because this ties directly into it. It's like 4 issues long. It's really fun. I give it a solid 7 out of 10. You don't really need to read it to understand the Flash, but it's good to read in general. Speaking of Flash, we got Flash, Volume 4, Running Scared. So this one's the aftermath of the button. So Zoom kidnaps Iris and races her to the future. So Barry chases them to the future. And Zoom's like starting to go unhinged. You know, he's starting to lose it, go a little crazy, a little loony. Well, more than he already is. He's Professor Zoom. I mean, yeah, you can't really expect much from a guy that named himself Zoom. Well, or the Flash, but you know. So he and Barry are in the future, and you're just gonna have to read the rest to figure it out, because it's a really fun story. And this whole Flash run is just so good. I always recommend this run. If you see this run, pick it up. This is if you like Reverse Flash, you like the Speed Force, if you like the forces in general, you're gonna like this whole run. So if you see this book or any of the other parts of this series, pick them up and read them. You're not gonna regret it. That's why I give this book a 9 out of 10. Speaking of, Flash, Volume 7, Perfect Storm. So, this involves the Flash comes back and he loses his powers. And Gorilla Grodd, Raijin, and I forget what her name was. Shoot, hold on, sorry. The girlfriend Barry had at the very beginning of this run. Hold on, because she comes back and she's allied herself with Gorilla Grodd. But this is like, I think right after, it starts with Barry trying to make up with Iris because of the events of Volume 4, Running Scared. They didn't make up till about this volume. So, 3 volumes without Iris. So, this is like Barry Allen powerless, but he wants to have powers. So he sets like Wally West, the original Wally West, as the kind of like Flash leader with like Avery, the new Wally West, and they're all there. But he doesn't trust them, so he's trying to get his power back, but at the same time, if he got his power back, then it would cause Grodd to win, but then this and that and this and that, and it's a good story, as the rest of this run is, but it just feels a little, I don't know how to feel about it. It's decent, but it's not like the tip-top, so it's like an 8 out of 10. Maybe pick this up. All right, next up, we got Flash, Volume 10, The Secret History of the Speed Force. So this involves Flash going on a force quest with Iris, and he's going like to Mexico. I think it's Mexico. Don't quote me on that. He goes to one of the, below America. I'm sorry, I can't think of the term to describe it right now. But he goes there and he meets, the Strength Force guy, and then he meets the Sage Force person, and he just meets all of the characters that have the forces. And he goes to like Gorilla City and meets and learns the history of the Speed Force, and he's being hunted down by someone. So, if you like the forces, you're going to like this book a lot. If you don't like the forces, then you probably shouldn't read this Flash run. But this book explains a lot you need to know about this Flash run. So I recommend it and would say read this book. 9.5 out of 10. Pick this up. All right. Last Flash, I swear, is Flash Year 1. So, you know what I said about Batman Earth 1? If you don't like the history, you won't like these. This is the history of the Flash, but also involves like Flash of the future. And this book is so good. It's probably one of my favorite superhero origin books I've read, because it involves like the Barry Allen of the past going to meet Barry Allen of the future, and the Barry Allen of the future being like in a decrepit timeline and him traveling back. And then it's really good. It's just so good. Read this book if you find it. It's amazing. I love it. It's great. 10 out of 10. Read this book. All right. Next up, we got Justice League, the Extinction Machines. So, I'm going to be honest, this Justice League run, I read 3 volumes this week, and I don't know how to feel about it. So this one involves, like, the Justice League, and they meet these, like, giant creatures named, I don't remember their names, but they're, like, a mass of humans that are all coming together, and they're making the Justice League act weird, and, like, Diana and Aquaman try and overthrow human civilization, and it's just a really weird story that, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like all that much. It's a good team. Like, I like Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, The Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, but this book in general, it just feels kind of bland, so I give it like a 7 out of 10, maybe read it, I guess. All right, next up we got Justice League, Outbreak. So this is 2 main stories. The first one is this like fear monster that Justice League defeats as soon as it starts, but then it's still infecting them, and they're trying to defeat it, but it's a weird story, but it's pretty good. I did like it. I like that first one, but then there's this one where this hacker guy is like hacking Cyborg, and he's like makes the watchtower crash, but then the hackers like I'm not gonna spoil what the hacker is. You're gonna have to read it because that second story is weird, man. It's really weird. But the first story is good, so that's why this book's getting high praises. I'm giving that an 8 just because of that first story. The second story is not that great, but if you're gonna pick it up, you may as well read that first story. Next up, Justice League, Volume 3, The Timeless. This book's weird, man. That's all I gotta say. This one particularly, it involves like time travel. There's these things called like the Timeless that are gonna try and stop all heroes from being made, but then there's also this one that's trying to stop the Timeless, but she's also may not be a person in general. She may be an interdimensional cosmic being, and I don't know. I mean, I thought it was Brainiac because it just looks like Brainiac, but it's not Brainiac, so don't expect it to be Brainiac. But this book's just, it's something. That's all I'm going to say about it. You'll have to read it to believe it, but I don't recommend reading it because this run is not too great in my opinion. So I give it a solid 5 out of 10, you know. Next up, we got Justice League of America, the Extremists. Now, if you want to talk about a good Justice League, this is that team. So this team is Batman, Ray, Killer Frost, Black Canary, Vixen, and Lobo. And what they do is Batman made this team to show that you don't need, like, gods to be heroes, because it's all a human team except Lobo, I don't get Lobo, like, that doesn't make much sense. Besides that, it's all humans, no, like, gods like Superman or Aquaman or Wonder Woman. So this story evolves around this guy coming down. His name is, I think it's Extremist, maybe? Lord Havoc. Lord Havoc comes down. He has, like, all these minions, and he invades a country, and he, like, takes over the country, so it's, like, the Justice League of America versus that country, and it's really cool. And the second story involves this, like, illegal weapon stealer that's dealing with, like, the Bow of Hera, like, all these mythical weapons, and he's selling them, and it's just really good. So I give this one a 9 out of 10 because this is really fun and quite enjoyable. I recommend reading this. Next up, well, last up, besides the game, if you're interested in that, is Justice League, Road to Rebirth. And what this is like the backstory of characters. So you got the backstory of the Justice League in general, this Justice League of America, how they came to being. You got the new Adam, the new Vixen, Ray, Killer Frost. So you get to learn how they came into being and why they're on this team now. And this is if you like that one, you're gonna like this one because it's just the backstory of those characters. So this book's good. That book was good. This whole Justice League of America series is pretty good. So I give this a 9 out of 10. And pick this up if you see it, because you can learn the secret origins. So that was all the comic stuff this week. If you enjoyed, I hope you make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to see the game review, stick around. If not, I'll catch you later. All right. So the game today is Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster. This game's... So I'm going to be honest, I didn't go for the true demon ending. I was not putting myself into a serious boss battle against the new final boss, or the true final boss, because I did not want to fight that. He is stupidly hard. So I went for the Yosuga ending, thinking I didn't have to fight Ball Avatar, but I still did. I was a little mad, but I still beat the game. I was a little under leveled. I was only like level 67 when I beat it. But this game does not hold your hand. You better be prepared for a serious RPG when playing this, but it's so much fun. If you enjoyed the other Shin Megami Tensei games, pick this up because it's so good. This was the introduction of the press turn system. The alignments are things you wouldn't expect, like the law-aligned alignment. What it seems like, like the world where everyone's the same, has like actual demons following it instead of the angels, and the angels are following what seems to be the chaos-aligned alignment. So it's like all mismatched. There's no like neutral route. You either go Yosuga, I forget what the other two are. I'm not going to name the characters because that's minor spoilers, If you don't want to be spoiled on, I'm not going to spoil it for you. So there's those three endings: true demon ending, the normal ending, and then the remake the world ending. This game's not going to hold your hand, so don't go into this thinking, oh yeah, I can go I'll just go in, play it a little bit. No, if you don't prepare, you are going to get destroyed by Fornius, the first boss, because he shows you aren't prepared. And don't even get me started on Matador. If you don't use buffs, you're dead, man. There's no going back. That's it. This game is great. The whole SMT series is great. If you see SMT games, pick them up for a good price. Don't spend like $60 on this. I got this one for $35. It was a great deal. So if you see these for a good price, pick them up. I recommend them. 10 out of 10. Play these games if you're up for the challenge. If not, play like Katamari or something. I don't know. So if you watch that, thank you. I hope you have a good 2 weeks, and I'll see you then. Bye.